Emmerdale airs a special episode tonight, with Cain Dingle in every scene. Monday's visit to the Dales follows the fan favourite as he reaches an important moment in his cancer journey, finally ready to accept wider support from his loved ones. While we usually expect multiple storylines to feature in an episode, tonight's one focuses solely on Cain throughout his day at Butler's farm, the Woolpack, and during a prison visit to his wife Moira. This culminates in an extended 12-minute scene where Cain finally tells Moira the truth about his illness. Read on for 6 early spoilers from the episode. Cain stares meaningfully at the Butler's farmland, aware of how close he and Moira are to losing it all. When Moira calls Cain from the prison phone, she expresses her gratitude over him keeping everything going in her absence. Cain feels terrible for concealing the truth from her about just how desperate their situation is. Cain is facing the pressure of unpaid invoices at the farm, but that's the least of his worries when Joe turns up unannounced once again. Joe reminds Cain that he's prepared to report him to the police for stealing his car. The only way to guarantee Joe's silence is by handing over Moira's share of the farm. With Cain barely bothering to argue back, there's a sense that he's already admitted defeat. Sarah witnesses Joe's bully boy tactics, prompting Cain to tell her about the stolen car debacle. Cain's granddaughter repeats her recent pleas, urging him to finally tell everyone about his diagnosis before things get any worse. At the Woolpack, Jacob continues to give Sarah a hard time over her recent car-stealing antics and her refusal to explain what's really going on. A worried Belle witnesses the tensions unfold, and she's quick to blame Cain for the young couple's issues when she finds out some of the details. While using the pub's bathroom, Cain notices blood in the toilet bowl and worries that his symptoms are getting worse. He takes immediate action by speaking to Dr. Liam, who's on the same page as Sarah. It's time for everyone to know the truth about Cain's health. Cain takes Sarah and Liam's advice by visiting Moira in prison and sharing the full details of his diagnosis. Moira is shocked as Cain had previously told her that his cancer was nothing to worry about. When Moira pushes for more details, she's dismayed to realize that Cain has been hiding the truth from her for a month. For decades, Emmerdale has been known for its emotional storytelling and unforgettable character journeys. But tonight's episode takes a bold and unusual approach that places one man firmly at the center of the drama. Fan favorite Cain Dingle appears in every single scene, as the show dedicates an entire episode to following his struggles throughout one life-changing day. From the quiet fields of Butler's farm to the tense atmosphere inside the Woolpack, the episode traces Cain's emotional journey as he faces one devastating truth. He can no longer hide his illness from the people who love him. And by the end of the day, everything changes when Cain finally tells his wife Moira Dingle the truth. A day that changes everything. The episode begins quietly. Cain stands alone at Butler's farm, staring across the farmland that has defined so much of his life. The wind moves gently through the grass while the early morning sun stretches across the fields. But Cain barely notices the peaceful beauty around him. His mind is somewhere else. Every acre of the land reminds him of the life he built with Moira Dingle. Yet now, that life feels dangerously fragile. Between Moira's absence and the pressure building around the farm, Cain knows everything they worked for could soon slip away. And that isn't even his biggest secret. Because Cain is hiding something far worse. The phone call from prison. The silence of the farm is broken when Cain's phone rings. It's Moira, calling from prison. Her voice carries warmth and gratitude as she speaks to him through the crackling prison phone line. Moira thanks Cain for keeping everything running at the farm while she's away. She tells him how much it means to know the place is still standing strong. But Cain struggles to respond, because he knows the truth. The farm isn't strong at all. Bills are piling up. Invoices remain unpaid. And the future looks more uncertain every day. Cain keeps his voice steady, pretending everything is fine. But the guilt inside him grows heavier with every word. He isn't just hiding the financial crisis from Moira. He's hiding something even more terrifying. His cancer. Trouble arrives at Butler's farm. Later that day, Cain is still dealing with the mounting stress when an unwelcome visitor arrives. Joe Tate pulls up at the farm. His presence immediately sets Cain on edge. Joe has been making life difficult for Cain for weeks now, and today is no different. He reminds Cain of the dangerous leverage he holds over him. Joe knows about the stolen car incident, and he's perfectly willing to report Cain to the police. Unless Cain agrees to Joe's demand. Joe wants Moira's share of Butler's farm. The ultimatum hangs heavily in the air. Cain barely even argues back. His exhausted silence says everything. Joe smirks. He can sense that Cain is already close to defeat. Sarah witnesses the truth. But Joe isn't the only one present. Sarah Sugden happens to witness the confrontation. She sees the threatening tone Joe uses, and immediately senses something is wrong. After Joe leaves, Sarah confronts her grandfather. At first, Cain brushes her off. But Sarah refuses to back down. Eventually, Cain explains the truth about the stolen car situation. Sarah listens carefully, frustration building in her eyes. She has been urging Cain to tell everyone about his illness for weeks. Now she sees clearly how the secrets are destroying him. Sarah pleads with him again. He needs to stop carrying everything alone. He needs to tell people the truth. Before it's too late. Tensions at the Woolpack. Later, Cain heads into the village. Inside the Woolpack, the atmosphere is already tense. Sarah's boyfriend Jacob Gallagher is confronting her again. He's angry about her recent involvement in the car-stealing incident. More than that, he's frustrated by Sarah's refusal to explain what's really going on. The argument escalates quickly. Nearby, Belle Dingle watches the scene unfold with concern. When she learns part of the story, she immediately blames Cain. To Belle, it seems like Cain's actions are pulling Sarah into dangerous situations. But Belle doesn't know the full story. Very few people do. A terrifying discovery. While the arguments continue in the pub, Cain slips away to the bathroom. He feels weak. The stress of the day is beginning to overwhelm him. When he looks into the toilet bowl, his heart sinks. Blood. The sight confirms his worst fear. His symptoms are getting worse. The reality of his illness suddenly feels far more urgent. Cain knows he can't keep pretending everything is under control. Advice from Dr. Liam. Not long after, Cain speaks with Liam Kavanagh, the village doctor. Liam has already suspected that Cain is struggling more than he admits. Now he's direct. Cain needs to stop hiding the truth. Keeping his diagnosis secret is only making things harder. Sarah was right. The people around Cain deserve to know what he's going through. But more importantly, Cain deserves support. Even the strongest people cannot fight something like cancer alone. Cain listens carefully. For once, he doesn't argue. Instead, he nods slowly. Because deep down, he knows Liam is right. The decision. After leaving the pub, Cain sits quietly in his car. The sun is beginning to set over the village. He thinks about everything that has happened during the day. Joe's threats. The farm's financial problems. Sarah's desperate pleas. And the frightening moment in the bathroom. For weeks, Cain has convinced himself he could manage everything alone. But the truth is impossible to ignore now. He needs to tell Moira. He needs to stop lying to the woman he loves. With a deep breath, Cain starts the engine. His destination is clear. The prison. The prison visit. The final part of the episode takes place during an extended prison visit between Cain and Moira Dingle. The scene lasts an extraordinary 12 minutes, making it one of the longest continuous conversations in the show's recent history. Moira immediately notices something is wrong. Cain looks exhausted, more vulnerable than she has ever seen him. At first, he struggles to find the words, but eventually he begins. The truth comes out. Cain explains that the cancer diagnosis is far more serious than he originally told her. Moira's face slowly fills with shock. Until this moment, she believed the illness was minor, something manageable. But now she realizes the truth. Cain has been hiding the severity of his condition for over a month. Moira asks question after question, trying to understand why he kept the truth from her. Cain admits he didn't want her worrying while she was in prison. He wanted to protect her. But Moira isn't relieved. She's heartbroken, because the lie meant she couldn't support him when he needed her most. An emotional turning point. As the conversation continues, the emotional walls Cain has built around himself begin to crumble. For years, he has been known as one of the toughest men in the village. Someone who rarely shows vulnerability. But in this moment, sitting across from Moira, that toughness fades. He finally admits how scared he really is. For the first time since his diagnosis, Cain allows himself to be honest about the fear he's been carrying. Moira reaches across the table. Despite the barriers of prison glass and security rules, her support feels powerful. She tells him they will face this together. No matter what happens, a new chapter begins. By the time the visit ends, something has changed. Cain hasn't solved all his problems. The farm is still under threat. Joe's blackmail still looms. And the battle with cancer is only just beginning. But Cain is no longer alone. The secret is finally out. And with that truth comes the possibility of support, strength, and hope.